So, hello everybody. It is me, Demetra K. And right now I'm sitting here by myself, but Donovan and Walter should be popping up momentarily. But until they do, you just have me. I don't know how you feel about that, but it's my show nevertheless. So, anyway, I'd like to say hello to Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. You are the other side of the conversation. You are all not just viewers, but you are participants because we do share the link where you can come on and give your commentary or ask a question or whatever it is you want to do. All I ask is that you be brief. Again, I feel like I have to say this every show. We don't need a history lesson unless it calls for that. Just kind of get to it and all of that. But nevertheless, the purpose of the Demetra K Show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people with the emphasis on even because we are great people, but we can always strive to do better. And who do I have on here so far? The Codified Network. How are you doing this evening? You say if they're just realizing this, then they really are lost cause. Do yourself a favor and leave the democratic plantation. Hashtag independent, hashtag Black first. Yes, a lot of people are likening the Democratic Party to the plantation. Of course, we'll get into that just a little bit. But of course, we are discussing Democrats being concerned that Black men are losing faith in the party. And we've seen that kind of be a trend over the last at least 4 years, right? Since, well, actually longer than that, since the 2016 presidential election where President Trump was running and he actually realized, a pretty decent size. It's small, but it was still decent size of the Black male vote. And in 2020, he got even more. And then he also got some Black women vote as well. So we'll get into it. Rachel, how are you doing today? And Uncle G, what's going on with you? Says Cornel West will get the Black male vote. Let me ask you why. Why do you think Cornel West will get the Black male vote? And will he get your vote? Like, what is he saying that will make you want to vote for him? I'm interested because I've kind of followed him a little bit, and he hasn't said enough for me to want to vote for him. And we're talking about Dr. Cornel West. He hasn't said enough to convince me. He's clearly would be a vote splitter, at least during the primaries, I would imagine. I don't see him seriously winning. I've always said that he would be a good protest vote. Like, I don't care who wins, whether it's the Democrats. I don't care if it's the Republicans. If I got a vote, then I'm just going to do it for Cornel West, right? But I'm interested in seeing what your reason would be to vote for him as a Black man. And Angela, how are you doing? Arneba, what's going on with you? Detroit man, how are you? And Walter, you say, love your content. The Dems would rather lose than give Black people good policies or reparations. You think so? You think they would rather lose? Or do you think maybe they're like, they'll come around. All we got to do is give them a lot of bells and whistles and symbolism. And, they'll get excited as they always do, they being Black people, and they'll show up because, of course, they have their regular lap dogs for the Democratic Party on deck, ready to go tell Black people, go vote for more of nothing. And you guys know who those people are. It's your Rollins, it's your D.L. Hewleys, it's your, Joy Reids, and all the usual suspects. They got them geared up to persuade Black people to vote for them. So I don't know how worried they really are, but we'll definitely get into it. Donovan, I see you popped up. Yeah, Fish Fry, Codified Network, exactly. Wait till they start battering up the fish, and Negroes get a whiff of it in their nose. It's like, oh, we gotta go do it. Hey, Thunder, how you doing? And Kenneth, how are you? Says Cornel West is a dim trick on us. Black men won't be voting for him. Yeah, that's why I'm trying to see what the draw would be. And Arneva says Cornel West doesn't want to win. If he did, he would run as a Democrat or a Republican. He will endorse whoever wins the nomination. Donovan, you're a Black man. What say you? Oops. I guess he didn't have nothing to say. He clicked off probably accidentally. He'll be right back. Hey Shirley, how you doing? Says no, they would rather lose than give us reparations. Remember, America has made us a permanent underclass. Oh yeah, we definitely are a permanent underclass. It's interesting. I never thought about it that way. If they would rather lose than to give us reparations. I'm thinking that they'll really think that eventually they'll, they're mad right now, but Black people, we don't stay mad all the time. We just, eventually we're like, oh, okay, come on, mom, come on, grandma, let's go to the polls and let's, vote for the Democrats. And Thunder says it's hot. Is it hot enough? Yeah, it is. It's hot. How it got 104 today. It's 102 right now. Florinor, how you doing? You say it's a sad thing to watch. As a child, I remember asking my mom why they allow politicians in the church. Why is that? Where is that in the Bible? Brother Samuel, how you doing? He says I see him as a possible protest vote. Exactly. So Donovan.
I cannot stand StreamYard when it keeps changing its stuff and messing everything up here. Once you get it all set up, it really messes up. But I digress. Okay, here we are. This is my forte when it comes to politics. And unfortunately, the most immature group of people who engage in politics is the Black community. Why do I say that? Number one, the Black community is the only group that votes basically as a monolith. We give almost 90-something% of our vote to one party, and that party does nothing for us but for everybody else. We are the only group of people who vote as a block, and everybody else benefits from our vote, but we never benefit from anybody else's vote. So a lot of people are waking up, but specifically as a Black man. Black men and men in general are leaders. We are here to be leading and all that other stuff. I hear a lot of people always talking about Black men are not in the church. Do you want to know why Black men are not in the church? We know a grift when we see one. We know grifting when we see one. Look at the stories of all these pastors with these mega churches and all this other stuff ain't doing a damn thing within the Black community that they pilferage from. Nothing against women who want to go do all that, but notice that usually when you go to a Black pastor, and I'm not trying to bash Black pastors because it's not all of them. It's a majority of them, but it's not all of them. Show me a pastor that said, you know what? I was a trillionaire. I had it all. I had cars, fame, luxury, women. I had it all. I gave it up to follow the Lord. You're not going to find a person that has that kind of testimony. In the Black community, we get pastors that say, you know what? I was in the streets. I was a pimp. I was a drug dealer. They didn't change at all. All they did was take their gift of gab and put it within the Black community. I mean, this is why the Democratic Party pilferages in the Black community for our votes, because we're so swayed by emotion and we're this and that. We are an easy mark. But Black men leading out of the church, because we know that's a grift. We know a lot of our women still are in the church, but notice there's not a lot of men in the church. Eventually, the women are going to follow and say, you know what, this is BS, this is whatever. But just like in politics, we're kind of showing you, you know what I mean? We've been voting 60, 70 years unilaterally Democrat and not getting the damn thing. So people are starting to wake up, and eventually the women will follow. And in the last election, the numbers of women who supported the Democratic Party actually went down. Not by much, but it did go down.
Yep. And so I just kind of want to give you a little bit of data in regards to Black men losing faith in the Democratic Party. So it says some of the things that they are worried about. It's free spending. So they're just spending kind of with everybody else, except for obviously America, and especially with Black people. And it says empty promises. Of course, we know what those are in regards to student loan, to reducing student loan debt, economic empowerment. And I would imagine that's reparations, or, helping to close the wealth gap with the Black and within the Black community, criminal justice reform, voting laws. So it says now that we are, as Black people, about 14.2% of the population, a 30% increase from the year 2000. Says Black I don't know what that says. I can't even read my own writing. But it says 1 in 5 Black people under 50 voted Republican in the 2022 midterms. Now, that is for both Black men and women. Of course, we know that in 2020, Trump saw about 12% of the Black male vote. In 2016, it was 8%. So it was a 4% uptick. Then there was a poll by Reuters, IP SOS poll. In July, it says 18% would pick Trump. And this is Black men. And then it says 46% would pick Biden. All right. So, I mean, 18% is pretty good, right? If the election was held now. It says Black men more likely to choose a candidate who favors abortion restrictions. And this is kind of what I found to be interesting. Increased policies to fight, increased funding to police to fight crime. And they say they feel like Republicans are just as good for the economy as Democrats are. And then they also said that the Democrats are always talking about closing the wealth gap, increasing Black wealth, but nothing actually happens. And then there was a guy, his name is Andre Russell. He said this, and I thought this was pretty interesting. He says, I'm kind of stuck with Biden until someone else comes along. And he says, as a society, we definitely have to move past the trope of old white men running everything. So he says he feels kind of stuck. And I want to know, why would he feel stuck or beholden to vote for, Biden, who is a Democrat? Is that because we're still under the impression that the Democrats are better for us as Black people? Or is it, because it's the party of my mama and them, my daddy and them, my grandmama and them? Why, especially now when we're seeing Biden, Kamala, really Biden, his administration, they have not stood by Black people at all. In fact, they have just flat out just slapped their behind, kiss my behind, and we don't care if you like it. We know you're going to show up and you're going to show out, when it comes to the polls. I believe they're concerned, but I don't think they're concerned enough to think that enough Black people will cost them the vote. Because y'all remember in 2020, the 2020 election, he was down bad. He was I think almost last. And then he was
basically last and had no money in his campaign. Kamala had been kicked out. Okay. Mm-hmm. Kamala was been gone. He was on his last leg.
Yeah. And then he went to South Carolina, and Representative Jim Clyburn spoke to the Black people there. South Carolina put him back into the game, and the rest is history. And so I just kind of feel like they think they can do that. Of course, you guys know recently they have been sending Kamala out to talk to the good Negroes. Hey, big head, how y'all doing? It's that time again. We need you guys. You know what I'm saying? They're going to the usual suspects: the NAACP, the Divine Nine, the churches, and all the people who are considered to be
Bowling Ball Martin.
Yeah, all of them. The other Black media, right? They're going to them to say, hey, and I did a report about it. Here are your marching orders. This is what you need to say to get the Negroes back on board. But the problem they're having is people like us. The people like us that are saying, just think about it. Think about what you're going to potentially do. These people they're not interested. They'll say, well, we can't afford to write you guys reparation checks. I don't know how we can afford it, but we've seen a copious amount of money go to everything overseas, Afghanistan, Ukraine, helping the immigrants that come over here, and everything else. So that they have the money. They just believe that Black people will get mad, but we won't do anything, right? So I don't know how concerned they really are.
Right. And then another thing we have to really concern ourselves about is that damn census. Do you actually believe after 60 years since the real big thing's been 60 years, that a population of people are stagnant at 13% in over 60 years? That's damn near impossible. That's damn near impossible. I would say personally that we're about 22%. But here's the reason why I bring that up. Our population matters. Because as long as they keep telling us that we're at 13%, we do not grow in political power. The more people you have, the more votes you have, the more politics and influence you have in your geographic area. So like that is why the white people are constantly telling you and me, oh, we're 50% of the population, we're this, and they're incorporating Asians as white, they're incorporating white Hispanics as white and all this other stuff so that they could remain in power. But they keep telling us we're only about 13%, and we take that as law. That is not true. We are probably way bigger than that, regardless of abortions and deletions and all that other stuff like that, murders and all that other stuff. It is impossible for a group of people to maintain a 13% level for 60 years. That is impossible. So think about that too. We've got to worry about that. I'm not saying go out there and just willy-nilly have babies everywhere, whatever, but we need to start growing our population out significantly to have power. That is why the Hispanics are coming in here and they're shipping them in here, and they have more political power. Mark my words on this, Demetra. The next mayor of Chicago will be Hispanic. I guarantee you that.
Yeah, that very well, and I think that's kind of the goal there. You know, even though in Los Angeles, Karen Bass, you know, she had a couple of Hispanics running and she won, you know, overwhelmingly. So I think that's probably still a couple of elections away. But yeah, eventually, it will come to that. But I think, like I said, yeah, I believe they're concerned, but I don't think they're concerned to the point of thinking that Black people are just going to completely, and not completely, but, you know, a lot of us will just say, I'm not doing it this time. I'm not, you know, voting for the Democrats. And then there's also the concern that obviously would help the Republicans. And some of those people are saying, well, you know, I'm going to go vote for whoever's on the Republican ticket. And right now it look like it may be Trump. So I don't know. I just think they kind of know who they're dealing with, that who is us. I think they know the nature of Black people. Some of us, you know, we'll leave the plantation per se, but you still got a lot of people who are just like, I don't care. You know, they've still been taught that Trump is the boogeyman, the Republicans are the boogeyman. And I'm not saying that they're great for Black people, but neither are the Democrats. You know what I mean? So there's a lot. I don't know how concerned they really are. Of course, I think they're going to do everything they need to do to make sure Negroes stay and then try to get some people back. But I think they kind of know the nature of the people. I won't call us a beast. The nature of the people that they're dealing with. Shiloh, you crazy. It says, take them to political pound town. God, Prince Majestic 2.0. How you doing? By the way, it says you mean the depraved 9 instead of the divine 9. If you guys don't know who that is the sororities and fraternities, Black sororities and fraternities. And Mike, see how you doing? And let's see, he says 133 billion to Ukraine. Is that what it is now? That's a huge jump. I thought it was around maybe, I guess, 50, but if that's the case, it's crazy even still. And Angela says, I'd rather not vote Democrat at all if Biden is the candidate. Again, I don't owe the Democrats ish. Absolutely. And I Beats by Dizzy. How you doing? It says, no reparations. And Jan Michael, what's going on with you? I just want to skip down. Curtis, how are you doing? Says, well, Donovan, let's put this 13% theory to rest. Try voting the bigots out. Yeah, and they're saying it's about 14.2%. And what it's saying is people who identify as Black. So it could be some Black people who are saying, I'm not Black, you know, I'm Hispanic or something. I don't know, you know. And Marcella, how you doing? Says, I was just listening to your Lake Lanier and studying. Then I saw this. I had to come to the live. Well, thank you. Mike says, not a lot of them are not citizens. And you say, you're probably right, Donovan. I'm witnessing it. Black folks clap back over the immigration thing, but it's fizzling out now. And you know what's so crazy? I saw in Chicago. So remember Otis came on here last week saying that the immigrants are supposedly like beating them up and just, you know, doing heinous things there. I actually saw a report about that, but I'm like, Don't seem like anybody's too much plugged into the plight of the black residents in Chicago. About a month ago or so, it was like, yeah, but now it's just the world. Nobody's paying attention anymore. So I think you're on to something.
Right. But see, we also got to think about this. I'm not talking about the migrants. I'm talking about the legal Hispanics that have been here. I'm talking about the dreamers and the people that are the generations that have been here for 2 or 3 generations now. They are growing. Forget the migrants. We don't have to bring them in. If you take the legal Hispanics in this country, by 2035, I believe Hispanics will be 40% of the population. That's the legal ones that we can count. You know, so let's not obfuscate the difference. And that's another thing that the Democrats and the political machines love, the ignorance of Black people when it comes to politics. If government and understanding how your government works wasn't important, they would teach it in school. Did you guys notice that when you went to government, they didn't really teach you anything? Most of you people out there, and you know, a lot of people out there in general, they don't even know what the first 5 amendments to the Constitution is. They don't.
And Moni, once again, happy birthday to you. Say just stopping by. You're going to the laundromat. Stay cool out there. And Anonymous B says they should let biracial people claim their preferred race. I believe they do. Because, you know, I used to work for the census, so we couldn't tell them what to say they are, right? Like we could see they're clearly Black, but if they say I'm white, you can't say, quit playing. You ain't white. You have to mark it down. So somebody who is biracial could very easily say, you know, I'm white, right? So, and if I remember, they have a choice to, you know, kind of clarify that they are biracial as well. So, and Mike, you say a lot of Hispanics are not legal. DACA does not give them citizenship. And The Rock, how you doing? Says, how you doing, Demetra? Oh, thank you so much. And Marcella says, I took a lot of notes on Lake Lanier. We need to study and teach our children. Yes, we do. Because a lot of people don't know about it. And they're just going out there, you know, having a great time. And then, you know, you hear about all the things that are going on underneath Lake Lanier, which is, it's amazing. And, you know, just I don't want to say creepy because I get what's going on, but it's amazing. Emily says, can't we get together and take our own census? I believe anything is possible. Black people don't fill out them forms because they think white folks trying to get in their business. And you're absolutely right.
At the same time, Black people don't want you in their business either. So.
Yeah, because when like I said, I worked for the census a couple of times. And that was most of, I was an enumerator, and then I worked for the census more inside. And that was the number one complaint I would say from Black people. I don't want the government in my business. And the crazy part is they would tell us to say, well, it's not a government. The census is not part of the government. It's not a government entity. And it's kind of like true and untrue because it's a autonomous, it operates on its own, but it is part of the government. So it's like, well, we're telling people it's not part of the government, but it's like it is. You know, come on, stop.
Yeah,
there's no light to kick it.
Yeah, the census is very important when it comes to resources. That is what helps the government allocate resources to certain groups. So when you don't fill out that census and stuff, it makes your numbers low. So if we're only at 13% for the last 60 years, who the hell's been getting all the damn money? We're getting money from 60 years ago. We're getting the same resources from 60 years ago. It doesn't go up, you know? So it's important to fill that thing out.
Yeah, you know, that's what they say. It's in regards to districting. And like you said, funds going to certain places. You try to tell people that, but, you know, I think people will have the right to be kind of leery, you know, because what are y'all really doing with this information? And, you know, that's what they say is going to, so they'll know how much funds to send to, you know, a certain area and this, that, and the other. But some people just ain't going to do it. Yes, Mike, Lake Lanier, a.k.a. Oscarville. And Charles, how you doing? Says, at work, just checking in on my peoples. I hope you are staying cool out there. Marcella said, you guys are good with the facts. We try. We try. But thank
Well,
you.
I might not know a lot about relationships and women and men and but I do know politics. That is my forte. That is what I love to do. I breathe it. I wake up. I watch it all the time. So, and politics is nothing more than power. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. It's about power. That's why Joe Biden could get in there and tell you, I'm going to stand by you. You stood by me. Then he gets in there and does nothing because now he has all the power. Remember Barack Obama? Well, I didn't do for my people in the first 4 years, but I guarantee you, if you elect me again, I'm going to do better. We all elected him again. What did he do? He wasn't facing re-election. He didn't give a damn. Done. It's about power. That's it.
Absolutely. And Mike says you can fill your census form online. Back in the day when I was doing it, they send it to your house. So I don't know if it's online now. But then if you didn't fill it out, you get a hi, it's me from the census. Just coming by to help you fill out your form. And then most people say, I sent it in already. And it's like, well, unfortunately, we didn't get it. And just can we take 10 minutes of your time to help fill it out? And you explain everything. And a lot of times they will say yes begrudgingly. And sometimes like, nah, I already did it. And then, of course, you're like, well, people are going to keep coming back until we get the information. It's really important. And trust me, I don't miss those days at all. And The Rock, he says, Demetra and Donovan and Demetra, I'm telling you guys, there is at least 75 million of us. And they're saying it's about 43 million, but who knows, right? But it says that it has increased since 2000 to the tune of 30%. So,
yeah, because if you stay at 13% for 60 years, we would be digressing in population. That means for every 2 or 3 children born, 2 of the 3 die or in some way, some form. They don't totally live.
Mike says the census undercounts Black people. They might, but I'm telling you, I know for a fact that if that is true, I'm not, there might be something nefarious going on in the Census Bureau. I don't know. But I will tell you, as I was an enumerator, a lot of times Black people just like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. I don't want them in my business. I'm not giving you my personal information. None of that. So that's kind of part of the problem with lack of trust in the government. So, and The Rocket says, no doubt, Donovan, it's probably a little more, but at least 75 million, bro. And then Mike also said a lot of people don't know the 3 branches of government. Prince, you said, remember, you ain't Black if you don't vote Democrat, or you don't vote for me. It's like, Brina, how are you doing? Hello.
Yeah, and you know what's crazy? Yeah, we have our 3 forms of federal government. Do you know how many people don't even understand? If it isn't a presidential election, they don't even know their city council members. They don't know the difference between county, state. We have all these different forms of government. God forbid you go to Louisiana, they have parishes, which goes under the French Napoleonic codes. So, I mean, it's mass confusion to keep people who aren't interested in the dark while they spend your tax money and your resources.
Right. B movies. I hope I said that right. First or last, you say power concedes power. Blacks get with the program. The government cut the check. Absolutely. Angie D, how are you doing? Extreme X, how are you doing? It says, love what you guys are doing, but Black folks are gonna vote Democrat anyway. And that's kind of what I was saying. I mean, I think there'll be more and more Black people waking up and saying, I'm not gonna do it. But I think the Democrats kind of at this point even still realize or think we're still pretty safe in regards to the Negro vote. Now, who they should be concerned with are the Asians and Hispanics, because I've seen reports on both of them saying we don't feel like the Democrats are doing enough for us. And it's like, huh? So they want even more. So that's who they really need to worry about defecting. And we are Judah. How you doing? It says losing faith. I'll vote for Trump first. And Mikey says the census undercounts Black people on purpose. A lot of immigrants are counted as white. But again, as you know, having firsthand knowledge of that, a lot of them say that they are white. I've counted, if I marked down, A lot of people who, to me, look Hispanic, but they said they were white. So, and if you know anything about how it works, they can't say that they're Hispanic. You have to say, well, these are the options, and Hispanic is not a choice. And so sometimes they'll be like, what do you mean? I'm Hispanic. So then I'd have to kind of circumvent and then type in that they're Hispanic. And so some of them would say, oh, I'm white. And some of them will say, well, then I guess I'm white. So I've seen it myself. Mr. Pirate Brain, how you doing? And I Princess says, and you know what? I don't know many black people who will fill out the census form. Yeah, there's a lot of them just like, I ain't doing it. M says, you really cannot blame them for the lack of trust. Absolutely. Rain, how are you doing? Marcella, you say, they didn't want you to know how many of us other nations tried to say they're not black, but if you ask a white race, they will still call you the N-word. Yeah. And Moni, he says, Brother Tariq spoke on the census very well, that if they wanted to, they can make a federal law to make it mandatory. Everybody who is not disabled or unable to write, if they did, the numbers will go up. And you know the crazy part to me is that the government needs the census to go out there and ask people stuff. Y'all don't think they already know? They already know, you know. And the other thing too is that, so this is kind of where the other problem comes in with the census. The federal government can force people to do it, but they can't make them answer one way or the other. They can say, if they're black, they're clearly, you know, black. They can say, well, I'm Japanese. All right. Well, what is your family's annual income? $2 million, right? Even it is not. So, like, who's somebody gonna force them to give the correct answer to? So that's the kind of stuff you got to kind of, you know, think about it. Some people out of spite might be like, all right, let's do it, you know, and it'd be the wrong information. So I think that's kind of why they don't force it, because you want people to do it right.
Well, I will tell you this: if you say you make $2 million on that census and they got all your information, the IRS will be sending you a nice letter.
But wait a minute, though. It ain't supposed to go. It's not from the government. You know, this is not for the. It's an independent service. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know, like, but it happens.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So it's like, does the government get the information or do they not get the information? Right. So if I'm not, and I'm gonna tell you this, you don't even have to put your real name on there. You can say my name is Kermit the Frog, because they say we're just interested in the information. We don't necessarily care about who is in the house. We care about the dynamics of what's in the house, if that makes any sense. So that's kind of why I don't think they'd be able to force it, because will you get the right information? And then if I say I'm Japanese and I'm black, I make $2 million and I don't, and you know the other stuff that's on there, and it gets back to the government or the non-governmental agency, and they say you lied. Well, if you knew the answer, why are you asking me in the first place? You know, so it's sticky. Common Man 80, how you doing? Says the census never undercounts our people. We just never give them all the numbers. How y'all doing? We are doing fabulous. Yeah, that's kind of a lot of what's going on. I'm telling you, I've seen it. And Mike says legislative, judicial, and executive are the three branches of government. Yes, indeed. Rain says 13% equals 40 plus million. That's what they say. Angie says, I've convinced my husband to stop voting Democrat. See, and that's a good start. So I think there'll definitely be a dramatic change in the way black people vote the next time. But will it be enough? I don't know.
Well, in the last 3 election cycles, we're seeing a change, and people are saying, wait a minute, we're doing all of this and we're not getting nothing for it. You know, our parents and generations, they like symbolism. We need tangibles. We're looking at our reality out there and we're saying we're not making it. Half of the population of homeless people in the United States are black people, but yet we're only 13% of the population. So how do you get that disparity in wealth in the United States when it affects particularly one group that takes up half of the homeless situation?
And then you also, when it comes to black people, since we only we're a smaller portion of the population, got to talk disproportionately. So we are half of the homeless population. That's really concerning. being that we are 14%, depending on who you believe. Um, so let's see here. Oh, the Rocky say, Donovan and Demetra, what y'all think of that fool Vivek wanting to take away FBA citizenship? I haven't seen anything about him talking about that. That's Vivek Ramaswamy. He is running for president on the Republican side. He's an Indian cat that's, basically a lap dog for white supremacy. But I haven't heard any specifics on that. If you don't mind kind of filling us in on the details a little bit.
Yeah, but isn't that crazy how somebody who comes to this country, maybe first generation Indian or whatever, and he automatically assumes he's above us. Amazing. Isn't it funny? We've been in this country for over 400 and something years, if not longer, and we have yet to have an FBA president, vice president, or anything of that nature.
Don't hold your breath. Moni, he says, but the topic that should be at 6:44 p.m. Eastern time, of course, is about the indictment of Donald Trump. Let's talk on it. Demetra, what do you think on it? Since you're always bashing the Democrats. Wow. I'm not always bashing the Democrats. I'm speaking the truth as I know it to be and as I research it to be. But in regards to Trump's indictment, I'd like to say at what point, at this point, which one? You know what I mean? I know he was recently indicted. I think it was yesterday or whatever, but come on now. But did y'all hear about Hunter Biden? Didn't his friends show up to testify? So it's like, why aren't we having an even conversation about that? And I think a reasonable person at this point can say, okay, y'all coming up with all these indictments on Trump. Why are y'all doing this? Especially in regards to January 6th. When was that? The 2020, so 2021.
2.5 years ago. 2.5 years ago. Right.
So why are you doing it now? And it's like, God, I can't even keep up anymore. Now we know why, and the DOJ is supposed to be independent, but it is appointed, and so we know
it works under the presidential executive branch.
Right. So I don't think that's I think that's a no-brainer. But I think we need to be asking, why are they leveling all of but this is a better question. Would they have leveled all of these indictments against Trump if he wasn't running? Because Trump is the front runner for the Republican Party. I mean, he's dog walking everybody that's on the Republican side. And they being the Democrats, hearing more and more talk about, I'm voting for Trump if he gets in, from people that wouldn't ordinarily vote for Trump. But I'm not always bashing the Democrats. I'm just saying, since we as Black people vote for them more than any other party, we need to be getting something for that, and we're not.
Well, I got a better question for you guys out there. Name me a person who has national security problems, be it they took a hard drive home, be it they're Edward Snowden and he's over there in Russia and they're waiting for him to get to United States soil so they can arrest him. All of this stuff, national security secrets, that's stolen them, and even if it was by mistake or whatever. How many people who have stolen national security things have actually not been arrested? You're a threat. You would be arrested immediately, no bail, period. Look at all the people that are being held in jail with no bail because they accidentally downloaded a hard drive or they did this, that. Why is Donald Trump a year now walking around nice and free? I'm telling you, there's two types of rules in this situation. Democrat or Republican, it's all white supremacy. Now, ask yourself, why aren't the Democrats locking him up for that? Why aren't they doing that? They do it for everybody else. Let you take some national security secrets and then talk about bail. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You are now a national security threat. You get no bail. But Donald Trump is running around free as a bird, golfing.
Yeah, it's games. It's what it is. And they got and my thing is, they got people so distracted with all these indictments for Trump. What are you not really seeing? Like I said, why isn't the conversation? I mean, for God's sake, they found crack in the White House, and they just said, well, we don't know who it is, who did it. Now, if I had crack in my house, the government would know about it. You know what I'm saying? But the White House, the most guarded place in America, I would imagine, is probably the most guarded place.
The Pentagon is. Yeah, the Pentagon is. But
yeah, and the most surveillance and all that other stuff. But yet y'all don't know who dropped a bag of crack off in the White House. Come on. But nobody's talking about that. And y'all, not y'all, them over there, the American people who heard it, the little blip in the news, and then heard the DOJ say, well, it's inconclusive. We don't know who it was or what, nothing. So we don't know. And y'all went with it. But had that been Trump with some crack in the White House, oh my God, we still be talking about it. Even if the DOJ said, it's inconclusive. We don't know. We know what was Trump. He's letting them get away with Trump. So come on.
It's called political theater. Let's take away the name Trump. Let's just put Obama as the name. How do you think the Republicans would be reacting if Obama did what Trump did? And the Democrats would do it too. Biden would be leading the charge for the Democrats. Biden would be leading it because he's a Dixiecrat. Come on now, you guys got to use your thing. And the reason why we talk about Democrats so much is because the majority of Black people vote Democratic. There's no point in us talking about Republicans when you don't vote for them.
Absolutely. And Marcelli says, which party would you rather have? A Democrat who is racist behind your back, or Republicans? They let you know in your face they're racist. Yeah, I mean, but either way, they're racist, right? Lesser two evils type of thing. Or different wings of the same bird analogy. All right, so let's see. I'm going to skip down a little bit just to catch up. I think that's Wild Williams 454. How you doing? Easy, how are you doing this fine evening? And Mr. X, how are you doing? It says our government is corrupt AF. Yep. And LB, how are you today? Easy says his charges keep mounting and he's free. Right. Let that sink in. Lamar, how you doing? Says, no, we are more like 37 to 80% of the population. Yeah, they're saying, from what I saw, it's now about 42%, but who knows, right? An average, Avenge the Ancestors. How you doing? It says, hello, Queen, Demetria, Brother Don. And Room Black First, yes indeed. And Denise, how are you? Says Biden is a criminal just like Hunter. Yeah, and Biden has been implemented in Biden Hunter's shenanigans as well. But yeah, and Moni, well, are you mad? Are you not mad about that? Are you upset that Biden and his son have been implemented in some chicanery? Does that bother you at all, or is it just you only care about the party, that it's Trump? Inquiring minds need to know. King of Sorrows, he says, ask me how I feel about the Trump indictments, and I'm going to respond with cut the check. Right, because it's all a distraction. And Common Man, he says President Trump shouldn't be under any charges. It's all bull. Nikki Red, how you doing? Dwayne, what's going on with you? You say Hunter still up there smoking, and don't forget Obama did cocaine in the past too. Yeah, but he wasn't president. I think he was like a college kid or something.
Yeah, college, just doing a little reefer,
Mm-hmm. And Hillbilly, how you doing? He says MLK was a Republican. He was, but you got to take into context. MLK was a Republican, the old party, because Black people.
Most Black people were Republicans up until FDR.
Right, and even still thinking about some of the views in the of the Republican Party, Black people still kind of line up with those conservative views. Now, obviously, nowadays, conservatism has been redefined as something just really just wacko, right? But yeah, you're right. And Lamar says, if we are 13% of the U.S. population, they would not even think to open the borders. That's why they're open like that. They know our true percentage, and they are trying their damnedest to drown us out. Yes, indeed. Which is why you also see when Black immigrants come over, it's like, we have no more room in the inn for you. We're going to have to send you back.
15,000 Haitians sent back on the very day. Flew planes down there, your tax dollar planes, all that. Got rid of all the Blacks and left the Hispanics.
Yeah, and they was the Biden administration. Well, we just don't have the money to take care of them. It's like, but you're taking care of everybody else that come over here. Just say you're racist with your chest.
Wait a minute. No. Stop. I'm not going to let you do that. Joe Biden and the Democrats say they have more Black people in their administration than anybody. He's done more for Black people than anybody. Look it up. Isn't that what he told those black pastors and those so-called black leaders?
I think he meant to say I've done more to black
Them,
people
right?
than anybody.
But see, when we throw these things out, that is factually, you can Google it. Our black people still will not wake up. We won't wake up.
Moni, you say at this point I don't care nothing about Hunter Biden, and you certainly know I don't care nothing about number 45. But I can honestly say, without the indictment, 45 might get in than demonic Ron DeSantis. Yeah, Ron DeSantis, I don't think he has a chance. I think he's just, I don't even know what he's doing at this point. But yeah, I think it's safe to say, unless something major happens, that Trump is going to be on the Republican ticket. And Biden does not want that. He does not want that.
Yeah, Biden barely won, even with the steal. He barely won. But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Unfortunately, and this is what Trump's people don't understand. The reason why he lost is because that boogeyman galvanized people that had dropped out of the voting process for years. You're talking about almost 3 to 4 million people that hadn't voted in years voted because Trump was pissing them off and things in his racism and things that he was saying and doing and things like that. And that's what galvanized that vote. If Biden thinks, and he's hoping on the black vote, that's why it's important. If they're saying if 1% of the black voters decline from the last election, Trump is back in. Trump is back in. Chris Christie and a few of the Republicans are running around, throwing the facts out, trying to help the situation. They know Chris Christie doesn't have a chance. But here's the point. Think about this. Look at the major news networks. Why are they giving Chris Christie and some of these so-called Republican folks so much airtime to fact check Trump and to reinforce that, he's not going to win and he's a bad guy and this, that, and, and stuff that they're saying is factual. But why would you get a guy that's at the bottom, almost less than 2%, all this airtime? He has no chance of winning because both parties work together. It's all about power. Biden wants to keep his power. That's no problem. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, and Chris Christie is like, what are you doing? Well, what are you doing? Didn't he lose the governorship of New Jersey?
Well, no, he served his 2 terms and then walked. Yeah. Oh, okay. It then got caught in scandal.
Yeah. And then even I think his second term, he barely won that. So it's like, Chris Christie, what are you doing? Like, right. I don't even hear. I mean, I heard he was running. I see him every once in a while. Like if I turn on the news just to kind of see what's going on, and he's speaking. I'm like, oh, you're running for president? Like, you're just wasting people money. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And you say, I'm good, beloved. How are you? Never better. Never better.
I do want to say this, and I agree with The Rock. In Rock, we do say this sometimes. The Rock! No, we do say this sometimes on the show. If you could legally obtain a weapon, do so, especially in today's times, because depending on what happens with this election, if Trump gets elected and he's in jail and however that's going to happen, whatever's going to happen, I don't believe Trump is going to win the general election. I don't believe that because you got too many people scared and all this other stuff. And, he could win the Republican nomination, but I don't think he can win the general. That's just me personally from the numbers. But no matter what happens, if you are running around here with no protection for yourself or your family, you're a damn fool because they are hunting for black people. Asians, Democrats get into office, right? Joe Biden did that. Who did the Democrats scapegoat to get an Asian crime bill? Who did they scapegoat? Black people. So you guys better be prepared.
Hello, Legacy Tier Strategies. How are you doing? It says we done, huh? Complex Blackness. How you doing? It says I believe Trump can win. You know what? I believe he can win too. I believe he can win because we're only hearing about people, I don't know, maybe on social media saying, oh, I'll vote for Trump. But what about the people who aren't on social media? I've had a lot of conversations with people that aren't on social media says, yes, I voted for, Biden and the Democrats, but this time around, I'm switching my vote. So that's there's a lot more people who are saying that they will vote for Trump. And one of the number one things I hear about Black people saying they're going to vote for Trump, men and women, is I was making more money under Trump. Gas wasn't through the roof, and the housing,
inflation, right?
like, yeah. So people are like, I was making some coin under Trump, and it was foolish, I guess, in retrospect, to be afraid, as someone said, Trump as the boogeyman, right? But it's like, okay, so they told us Trump was the boogeyman, and specifically they tried to nail that to Black people. He's a boogeyman for y'all. He's racist. He's this. He's that. But then there's a lot of Black people was like, damn, I sure was doing all right under that boogeyman, So, golly, I'm just like this. If you cannot intelligently see what's going on with the Democrats in regards to Black people and connect the dots and come to an informed decision, it's simply because you don't want to. It's simply because you suffer from brainwashing, right? You are cognitive dissonance. You cannot suspend your, I guess what I'm trying to say, disbelief. You just won't believe it. The Democrats are the party of Black people. The Democrats, we always vote for them. And it's like, but gosh, can you at least just stop and moan? Especially I'm talking to, you and people like you. Could you at least just say, okay, let me think of 2 or 3 things that the Democrats, not even just Biden, but the Democrats have done specifically for Black people. Just 2 or 3 things. And if you can't come up with anything, then your next question needs to be, why do they deserve my vote? Now, I also know you'll say, well, the Republicans haven't done anything. Great. If you don't want to vote for the Republicans, don't do that, because not voting is a choice as well. You know what I mean? We can, listen, I don't want to tell y'all what to do. I'm just
you don't vote, you give your vote to the Republicans. That's not true. You vote, you helping the Republicans.
You know what? But y'all ain't helping us though. You know what I mean? Y'all ain't helping us. So how y'all gonna try to trump, no pun intended, on who's being helped the most by who when y'all ain't helping Black people? So that's what I would say to somebody who was a staunch Democrat. When you don't vote and you vote for somebody else, it's gonna help Trump, and say, all right, cool. Name me 2 or 3 things that the Democrats have done specifically. I'm not talking about that all-inclusive stuff. Specifically, which means only, especially for Black people. And they're going to say, well, they're just the party of the people. Then you say, so with that, you haven't given me a reason to continue voting for more of nothing, which is what you came up with. Nothing.
Wait a minute, Demetri. I'm tired of you bashing on the good white man, Joe Biden. I'm tired of it. You got to give him some time. Give him some time.
Well, how much time do he need? He only got about 5 more minutes to be on the planet himself.
Right, but he just got in the office. But in the first 45 days, everything that the Democrats wanted to do for the people that didn't support them, but wanted things, he signed it. For the last 2.5 years, do you guys realize Joe Biden has been sitting there doing absolutely nothing? He doesn't sign any real bills or anything like that. But he'll give you, by executive order, an Emmett Till statue.
And the crazy part is you probably have to pay to go see it, have to pay some sort of an admittance fee to go see it. And the other Emmett Till monuments they have, they being white supremacy, they shoot at them all the time, or desecrate them. So it's like, so y'all giving 3 more monuments for white supremacists to go and have their way with. Like, what are we doing here? Who and what Negro and that Biden or anybody talk to says, yeah, that's great. I think my people will be happy with some more. I don't even think Emmett Till or his mama would be happy with that,
Right. And I want to add this too, because let me see, let me give you some credit here. Prince Majestic 2.0 he brings up the thing about the student loans. He says Joe Biden turned his back on all those people in debt from student loans. Very sad. Now, in the Black community, who has the most student loan debt in our community? Black women. And remember, when he came up with that, he said $50,000. How many of you guys remember that? He said $50,000.
Yeah.
And then it was 10,000. I mean, lying straight to your face, and people still voted for this man. Because a lot of you, $50,000 would help you guys a lot in your debt to student loans. So if you women are still going to give this guy a break, hey, that's on you.
Absolutely. Walter is in the building. Leather and luxury cars, how are you doing? It's a great convo, y'all. Hope everyone is well, and we hope you are well too. Long time no see. And Nikki, you say the border control didn't have to work hard, and he got rid of MS-13 gang. So you talking about Trump? Okay. And Rain says on the 31st, I will be out of work for 2 years because of Biden's mandate on the jab. I'm never voting Democrats again. So are they still making that a thing that you have to take the jab for certain jobs? I thought they got rid of that. That's crazy. Art, how you doing? It says just subscribe. Yay! Thank you, thank you. And Denise, you say I believe Trump will win. A lot of people are fed up with Biden, myself included. That's why they keep indicting Trump. Yep, that's exactly what it's about. And enraged, Pinky told man, I just got a good understanding of your name. You ever hit your pinky toe on something, man? You be wanting to punch holes in the wall.
The damn toenail split, the nail and everything. You're so mad.
Yeah. You say Uncle Donald asked us what we have to lose. We have nothing to lose, sir. We have lost everything under the Democrats for decades. Exactly.
Well, I'm going to say this for the ladies. And maybe you guys can visualize this better, because I know women, you guys are very emotional and you're very visual. The relationship that Black people have with the Democratic Party is the same relationship that Ike and Tina had. Okay, visualize that. Visualize that. He's abusing her and taking her for granted and all this other stuff, right? It's going to take us to get in the back of that limo and beat the crap out of him and run like hell to get away from this organization. This is why when people always ask me, why does he call himself the recovering Democrat? Like an alcoholic or an addict. I was born a Democrat. I was raised a Democrat. And it's going to take some time for me to flush away my Democratic principles, even though fundamentally it's always going to be in me. But think about it that way. Ike and Tina, we're involved in an abusive relationship with the Democratic Party, and we keep coming back for more. It's incredible.
It is, and hopefully one day we'll wake up. Let's see here. Panther Strike, how you doing? You say, actually, I made more money under Trump than Biden and Bussy now. Obama, the loan signing business was great until the pandemic. Absolutely. And a lot of people have said that they've made a lot of money under Trump. So let me skip down to the bottom. Beverly, how are you doing? It says, if you don't vote Democrat, then you're not Black. Ain't that some mess? Patricia, how you doing? It says, Black men ain't the only ones. Yeah, they said Black women who are also saying, well, it was cute while it lasted, but let me explore my options, So let's see here. Walter, are you ready?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just listening. At my gate, my community to my gate, the gate was locked. So me and 4 million people outside in the heat. Joe Biden running the gate too.
Milo Factor, how you doing? Said I'd rather throw my vote away than vote for a true criminal like T-Rump. No Kate for Biden though. Yeah, I mean, they all criminals if you ask me. You know what I mean? All of them are criminals. I mean, they're just speaking it.
Can I ask you a question? What makes Donald Trump a criminal? I mean, I'm asking a real question. I know he's got some cases.
But yeah, outside of his legal cases, yeah, outside of that, I don't.
I've heard people say that before too. He's a criminal. Before his thing with Stormy Daniels and.
Well, I mean, he has done business as a businessman, like most businessmen do. with the mob and whoever's going to finance this and that. But that's business. Like I said, I'm not saying it's right, but until you're actually charged with a crime, I don't see where they come up with he's a criminal minded. I think all white people who have money do that. How about this? How about this, Walter? What's your opinion on this? Who's the guy that owns Amazon?
Jeff Bezos?
Well, the shareholders, but he is.
Yeah. Well, he's the richest man in the world. Doesn't pay any goddamn taxes. Isn't that a crime? Isn't that a crime? But yet, nobody calls him a criminal.
Well, he's not breaking the law. He's following the
Exactly.
That were
Exactly.
created.
Exactly.
So it doesn't make him a criminal. It just makes him. I mean, the rules were written by criminals. I mean, the tax code was written for people for their rich buddies.
Right.
I mean, so. That's the kind of rule I would break. When I get that rich, I'm gonna break that law too. I ain't paying shit. That's
not doing anything that everybody else doesn't do.
Yeah, he pays. I mean, the thing I don't really sweat Jeff Bezos for is because he's created so many jobs. If Amazon shut down tomorrow, there'd be hundreds of thousands of people out of work, and businesses that supply on Amazon and people that have Amazon FBI and YouTube and all that. There'd be 500,000 people out of business. So he's not paying taxes, but his employees are paying taxes. And that's kind of how I look at it. I mean, I don't know if he's not paying any tax. He's just probably smarter than us when it comes to tax planning. I mean, that's my opinion.
And Common Man says, I only voted Democrat 3 times last Obama. The first Democrat was Jimmy Carter. All the rest were Republican. Yep. Jimmy Carter way back in the day. I think I was maybe 9, maybe when he was a president.
Yeah, when he first got elected, you were probably 7 or 6.
And I Princess says, Sir Trump is a criminal. We are not here to defend him or the Republicans. We are black first. Well, he's been alleged to be a criminal, but as far as I know, and I could be wrong, he hasn't. He was found guilty. Wasn't he?
Yeah. Okay. And most of his civil litigation, he settles out. So you can't really.
But I'm talking about recently, like last year or something.
Yeah. He's found guilty, right?
How you doing, Evelyn? Says stolen documents. Yeah, but said Biden has some documents as well when he was a senator. So not president or vice president, but as
it was also vice president as well.
But as a senator, so. Even still, was he supposed to be taking them home? But that's what I'm saying. And Black America says Trump cheated on his taxes. I don't think Trump would be the only one to do that. I mean, of course,
how many of y'all are claiming children that ain't yours? Come on now, let's be real.
Hey, that's some pretty scary stuff, though, to be claiming other people's kids. That's the hustle right there. James, how you doing? He says he started a riot. That's all interpretation. He wasn't charged with insurrection. He wasn't charged with that, according to the charging document. Now, in our opinion, could they have charged him with it? Absolutely. But guess what? That is one of the hardest things to prove, because you guys got to remember, they are hoping Trump dies because they do not want to have the supreme person of white supremacy, the president of the United States, being held accountable for anything. It would just destroy their narrative that everybody is accountable. And they don't want that. They don't want that at all. Absolutely. Denise, so did Biden. Prince, you say y'all are funny. We're not trying to be. Enraged Pinky Toe says all politicians have documents. Let's be real. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But and again, I'm not a Trump supporter. I don't support either one of them. I'm non-partisan per se. But I think if we're going to have a conversation, let's have a fair conversation. Trump, he's done some things that others have not done. But as far as those documents, it's like, come on. You know what I mean? And then they say, I saw something about Pence, because, Pence is running. I was like, oh, you're in the race too? That obviously was Trump's vice president. I think they're trying to say they found some documentation saying that he was in the know of the insurrection as well, while he was sitting up there talking about it's wrong. I wholeheartedly denounce it. It's like, or do you really? Because now you're implementing it, and you know, and knowing about it. Uh, Comment says Jimmy Carter was my first time voting. I was 18 years old. Mm-hmm. And Mike says gas prices got Jimmy Carter kicked out of the White House. You know what's funny is because I was old enough to remember when those gas lines were wrapped, you know, all the way around the gas station and stuff. Because I remember my parents watching the news and you know also experiencing trying to get gas during that time because it was a gas shortage. And Mike says gas prices got. Oh, I read that already. I'm sorry. Milo Factor says hopefully no bail tomorrow. So no bail for Trump. Yeah, I'm not like. Why do y'all think they're gonna keep that man in jail? Y'all seen the mug shot of Trump? Has anybody seen the mug shot?
No. In the United States, everybody's entitled to bail unless it's a national security issue or a severe violent crime. Anything else, you're entitled to bail. It might be $5, $7, $12 million, but you're entitled to some form of bail.
Right. Jay Bubba says Roland was flipping out on the new black media again. Boule is scared. Really, what was he saying? You know, I don't follow Roland Martin.
But y'all niggas don't. Y'all niggas don't know nothing about no politics. You know, y'all need to give me the money so I can make the studio better. But
you better knock it off. Every time I do see a clip or something of him, he seems like he's extremely upset, and it just looks unhealthy. Like, man, you might want to go get a checkup or something. That don't really help.
They told him he better get his big ass out there and get these people in line to vote Democrat. That's where he gets his check.
Yeah. Enraged Pinky Toe says Biden is a bigger white supremacist than anyone. He wrote the 94 crime bill that specifically targeted millions of blacks. He called kids roaches at a press conference. Yeah, Biden is not. He is who, you know, he is who he is. He's got a proven track record, and somehow Negroes want to explain it away. Well, he's changed.
He's a man of his time. That would be like us looking at our parents talking about they don't like Parliament Funkadelic. You know what I mean? They're people of their time. You don't expect them to change. That's why when women and people talk about like abusive times or this, that, yeah, in those times, that's what they did. Times have changed now. So it is what it is.
Yeah, you know, but I hate to hear people say, well, he's changed. He's not that way anymore. He said he was sorry. And I was like, he's never said he was sorry. He's never said he's sorry for the crime bills. He said, I made a mistake because I was given bad advice from doctors. But he never said, you know, forgive me, I'm sorry. I you know, said I made a mistake. That those were his words. So kind of different to me. Prentice says Biden shouldn't have gotten in by the black vote. His administration shows that the same Biden with crime bills is still the same toward black people. Oh yeah, he is who he is. He is a Dixiecrat, right?
Wait a minute though. Wait a minute. See, that's what I'm saying about we don't understand government, and you know, like I said, a lot of us don't. I'm not an expert at it. I couldn't even pass it in the SAT testing. It's one of the classes I could not pass. Cannot the Congress repeal the 1994-5 crime bill? Can they not repeal it? When Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats were in control, could they not have repealed that bill? Yes, they could have. And they didn't. Nancy didn't even bring it up for a vote. Wasn't even on her radar.
James, how you doing? He says January 6th didn't happen. I get the F out of here. Who said that January 6th didn't happen? It clearly happened because I remember, you know, watching it. First, I was like, what the hell is going on? And, you know, I was supposed to be doing something that day, and I was mesmerized for hours watching it. I was like, this is insanity. So, I mean, unless we're being punked, it happened. There's some people that's doing some jail time. At least I think they are still. And then iPrince says you're entitled, but that doesn't mean the judge will grant it. Yeah, and then I saw something too where they said it was a black female judge. She's supposed to be one of the toughest judges, and you know that Trump has to face. And it's like, well, all that remains to be seen.
She was a defense judge. She worked in the defense docket, you know, the public defender type thing. So, you know, yeah, she's tough and she understands it. And I almost guarantee you she's going to give Trump every thing that he needs to delay the trial or whatever, which is within his rights. I guarantee you she will.
Another thing too is, well, for Rain, like she says, I'm not a Trump supporter, but I'm voting for Trump. I want my job back, and the immigrants deported. So under the Biden administration, she was forced to. A lot of people were forced to take the jab, right? Forced to take it or lose their job. A lot of people lost their job because they did not want to take it, and so we know that Trump, when he says that he would not have mandated that. I saw his town hall. I think it was with what's his face, Sean Hannity, and he says that, I would stop the war between Russia and Ukraine, and I would not be sending all this money overseas and things like that. So I don't know, right? But yeah, you definitely should get your job back. That's not right.
But let me ask you guys a question. Okay, aside from Trump being a criminal, because here's the thing, Donald Trump, we want to keep prosecuting this man for his sex crimes and his taxes. If we had to grab everybody that haven't paid their fair share of taxes, they would all be in jail. And then when you consider Joe Biden, him and his son actually are facing criminal charges that they're not prosecuting because he's the president. Come on, if me and Donovan had a crack habit and a felony gun charge, come on, man. We can't explain $17 million how we earned it. I mean, black people, we need to wake the hell up. And let me ask you another question. If Trump is a crook, so what? How is that hurting black people? How is Donald Trump being a crook hurting black people? Because he talked about building the wall. Like, you should go back and watch his CNN town hall thing, what he did with that chick. He explained the wall. He talked about the documents in a clear fashion that we're allowed to have the documents per the Presidential Act. But whatever, even if he was wrong, how does that hurt black people? And is that stopping black people from saving money, investing, doing what we talk about on this show every week? Why does it matter that he is a criminal? We love criminals. Like, I was watching this podcast, and the girl is talking about how such a hero Jay-Z is, because not to the black community, but to everybody, because how he was selling drugs and then he changed his life around. And Eazy-E did that. A bunch of them. A lot of people have done that. So, like, what does it matter? He's a criminal. Like, I feel like black people sometimes we use that as an excuse not to do shit. And like Roland Martin with the high socks and the shorts on and the church shoes, and Lord have mercy, looking like Black Frosty the Snowman. Y'all need to cut that dude out of your life, because he is no better than the rest of them. Like, man, like, black people, we get diverted from the issue. Our issue is money, period. Put money in the bank, stack it, save it. 99% of your problems go away. And even if a bee is one of your problems, money will help with her too, and him too. Am I right? I mean, both of y'all been in relationships. If all of a sudden $1 million got deposited into your checking account, how would that help your relationship?
Right. You remember those stories that people, like, the bank would make a mistake and the money drops in there, and immediately people go in there and pull that money out and go spend it?
Hell yeah.
And then you get that notice talking about and then you get a big negative balance in your account. They're like, you gonna pay this back one way or the other, okay? That's the strangest thing. I hear people doing that. I was like, you better leave that money in there. That ain't that ain't your money.
It's an interest-free loan. That's how it is.
Yeah, okay.
But when do we get? Because I feel like somebody said the blacks are being used to fight Trump. In my opinion, and you say what you want to say, in my opinion, Trump has done more for black people than Joe Biden will ever do. First of all, even if you just take the immigration thing, I don't have a problem with legal immigration. Come over here and get your money, right? In my opinion, a lot of Americans are lazy as hell. So the immigrants want to come over legally, let them do that. We need them because a lot of Americans won't take the jobs. But let's say he would successfully build the wall. And I know there was the wall, other things happened, it was a chaos. But let's say he was successful in building the wall and the illegal immigrants couldn't come in. Like, what would that do for our economy? A lot of those jobs went to black people. And it's unfortunate. the way we treat our kids and leave them behind, so they end up in these jobs. But it is what it is. So, and I never heard Obama or Biden deal with criminal, crime reform. It's not a secret that a lot of poor people, a lot of minorities get railroaded by the system because they don't have the money to fight. The current system hurts people, minorities and people who have less money. If you have $5 million and you get accused of something, even if you get accused of stabbing your ex-wife and her man on the side, did it or not, you have a shot.
Let me ask this. Angela, if I didn't already, how you doing? He says, wow, Walter's defending Trump white supremacist mentality. If you don't mind me asking, what makes that, and I don't know if he was defending him. I think he was just asking a question, but what makes defending Trump white supremacists opposed to that of Biden? Because I personally think they're both at the helm of white supremacy. I think Trump and Biden are, but I guess what I'm trying to ask is, why do we just see Trump as the big time white supremacist, when if you look at the Biden and Trump's records, Biden has the biggest proven record to be a white supremacist. His mentors and his best, dearest friends were big time, staunch KKK white supremacists, admitted white supremacists. And he says, they were my buddies, they were my mentors. He's got holding hands with them, and
what it is? He did the eulogies.
Yeah. Black people, we like Stockholm syndrome. We love our slave master. We like the guy that's whooping our ass and putting slash marks on our back. That is Black people's history. It's the way it is. Do not sit here. Like, this is the problem with Black people, is you can't have a conversation about politics. Do you think white people and Jews sit around and talk about blue no matter who? Black people are one of the only people that cannot have a conversation about politics. Like, you hear people rail on, like, why does it take Donald Trump to come and deal with criminal reform? Or whatever, like him and Kim Kardashian got that lady out of jail. Like, I've heard Donald Trump talk about criminal reform. You know what I'm saying? What is Joe Biden? What have they done? I mean, he said out of his own mouth, I'm the one that wrote the damn bill. And people, you still, and listen, vote for whoever you want to, but don't do it based on because you're just a Democrat or you hate Trump. Most of you guys, if Donald Trump walked in the room and your black ass was in there, he would shake your hand before Joe Biden would. I promise you, because I've met Donald Trump. I've seen Donald Trump in the flesh. And I've seen he treats everybody the same. Is he a white supremacist? Probably behind closed doors.
No, I think he's a bigot. I really don't think he's a white supremacist. He's an Archie Bunker bigot.
Or whatever.
I agree with that. Yeah.
He's an all white dude. He's in a good old boys club. Of course, if I was old and white, I'd be the same way. I would want my race to be above, and I want everything in my favor. Right? If black people, if we had slaves, wouldn't you want that too? To stay in power? I'm just keeping it real. Some of y'all up here acting like holier than thou. I mean, we need to get off of this thing that if you vote for Trump or like Trump or defend him, that you're a white supremacist. I would say if you vote for Joe Biden, you are closer to being a white supremacist, because this dude kicks it with the Klan. I don't see any pictures of Donald Trump holding hands with the Klan. I don't see him and David Duke kicking it. Can you imagine if they had a picture of Donald Trump doing a eulogy for a Klan member? Can you imagine the news on that stuff? You guys, Joe Biden walks in and says, "Pow," he slapped your mama and all your kids, and you bow down to this dude because of what? What has Joe Biden done for black people? Name one thing. And not even student loan reform, which is a lie.
Well, he gave us the Crown Act.
The who?
The Crown Act.
Oh, what the hell is that?
That's no discrimination on your natural hair in the workplace.
And then there's Juneteenth.
And the hip hop holiday proclamation, the 50th anniversary they just got.
You talking about hair? What do you mean? Oh, like
wait, Emmett Till and his mom got not one, but 3 additional monuments. They don't need no monuments. Give his mama the money so she can start a program
to
His
help
mom is
young
gone.
black
Their
kids.
mom is gone on to glory.
Oh, his mom too?
What that was back in the 1950s, and he would have been like what 80, 90 almost, or something like that,
Yeah, he'll
or
be almost 90 years old. Yeah.
something like that. So
Black
his
people,
mom is not here anymore.
y'all keep bowing down for this. A bunch of Negroes bowing down to some congressmen wearing some dashikis and some red bottoms. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. Like if you want to vote for a Democrat, do that based on their actions. Don't do it because Donald Trump is evil or what. I mean, come on, you guys. Like I'd rather do business with Donald Trump all day because you know why? He's actually a businessman, and at the end of the day, I don't care about nothing but the money. That's why I'm sitting here on the bottom of the screen. Money moves. Some of y'all go to work for some of the most white supremacist people in the planet. Some of you work for Liz Claiborne, and I can go on and on and on. Some of y'all wearing Louis shit right now, and you know damn well how Louis Vuitton feel about black people. But we're going to sit here and badger the only president that I can remember in recent history to even lean toward helping black people. And Donald Trump said it himself. I have done more for black people than the Democrats, starting with the wall, starting with telling illegal immigrants, no, you don't get to come over here. Those are our jobs that are being taken away.
And then he wants to end the rule of just because you come over here have a baby to be a citizen. I forgot the name of the term is. And to me, that makes sense. He doesn't want any more, sorry if this is derogatory to people, anchor babies.
Send that baby back. Wrap his ass up and send him back. If you did it in the past, cool. But no. See, that's the problem. You can't walk into Russia and do that. They will put that baby in a manger and push his ass into the Atlantic or the Bering Sea or Mexico too. You think you can go to Mexico, have a kid, and be like, "Ha! It's your responsibility."
And can I let me say this? I Prince Majestic. He says, "Dude lost me with minorities, quote unquote. I'm smelling jerk seasoning. Laugh out loud." Let's not get brand new on here. Most of y'all was calling yourselves minorities up until the last 5 years until y'all got put on by Dr. Claude Anderson, and everybody else ran away with Dr. Claude Anderson's talking points about stop calling yourself minorities. We were all falling for it, which is how we as black people fell, into the position we are because we were calling ourselves minorities, as Dr. Claude Anderson described it. Minorities includes all marginalized groups of people. You talk about affirmative action. White women are a marginalized group of people, part of minority definition, so they benefited more. So he has asked us to stop calling ourselves minorities. So up until recently, like I said, last 5-10 years, we was all saying minorities. So, and as far as the jerk chicken, jerk seasoning, I know that's a very derogatory term. Unfortunately, that is the language that is between, I guess, the FBA crowd and what you guys, I'm not going to say the name y'all call them, but people who are not Black Americans. He is probably more Black American than you are. So let's kind of keep the
seasoning.
Let's keep the intellect going on this show, and let's not sink to emotions. And that's the problem too. I would concede. Unfortunately, and this is what I kind of hate about communication with us, is we cannot rise out of our emotions long enough to have a civil conversation. We get the name calling, somebody say something you don't like, you get to doing a Tasmanian devil, all up in the comment section, you're mad. It's like, instead of saying, okay, I don't like it, or, getting mad, just kind of dissect it a little bit. That's what makes the world go round, dissecting things that are maybe a new idea to you. Because I know a lot of stuff Walter is saying is foreign to Black people, because we have been sold and told that the Democrats, and this is where y'all should really feel embarrassed when I say y'all, those of y'all who keep on trying to defend the Democrats or get mad when you hear Trump's name, and y'all automatically think, oh, he's the boogeyman. But who told you he was the boogeyman? And as Facts Not Feeling said, that they told us that Trump was specifically our boogeyman, our being Black people, and it was our job as Black people to get rid of Trump. And so what did we do? I ain't voting for Trump. Trump. And we went and did like good little, whatever you want to call it, and we did the job of the other side of white supremacy. Nothing is more white supremacist than the Democratic Party, because that's what they are, using Black people for their benefit and to help everybody else, and telling you, see you next time, Negro. Not doing nothing for you, but I know you'll show up. So let's let's not be so emotional if we could. I love you though.
But you know what I see, and again, I voted for Barack Obama. I voted for Democrats. I get it. And if we had a Democrat come up that made some sense and he had a decent plan, I would vote for that Democrat over the Republican. Let's be clear. This is not a Republican or Democrat thing. I'm talking about the people that are in office that are basically, like Joe Biden. I want him out. And to the minority comment, I am a minority. Let me tell you why. And listen, I'm tired of splitting hairs. Am I black, non-black? Am I ADOS? Am I this? That's exhausting. Let me tell you why I'm a minority. D, you said it yourself. Black people are 14% of the population. You know what that makes us? Using words like and statistics, that makes us a minority. Forget all. I get there's other reasons why maybe not to call us that, but we are. So when I say minorities, I am a minority because there's less of me wherever I go. If I walk into a bank, there's less black people. If I go to a vacation, there's less black people. If I go to a sports bar, if I go to a nice restaurant, to a car dealership, there's very few black people everywhere I go. So,
well, but let me say this. So I hear what you're saying. Being a numbers guy in regards to minorities, number wise, numerically speaking, it makes sense. But if you're talking about policy, it doesn't behoove black people to call ourselves minorities, because when we do that, we don't even ascribe to the term people of color, because people of color embodies everybody that's not white. And so we like to separate ourselves and say black so that we're clear, and we make it clear to the politicians. We're not talking about these everybody rules, these all-encompassing or laws, rather. We're talking about specifics for black people. So that's why Dr. Claude Anderson asked us to separate ourselves from the minority, because yeah, in theory, they make you think minority means black, and that's what we've been taught for a long time. But when you look at what has actually been done for minorities, that included everybody except black people. So that's why we don't call ourselves minority.
I mean, that makes sense. I understand that point. I get it.
And let me say this too. Mr. X says Joe Biden actually used the N-word on the Senate floor. For I understand, that has been debunked. I think they said that they proved that he did not say that. I know the video talking about, it seems like it might have been doctored or misconstrued to sound like he said it, but he did not say that. So I just want to be fair about that.
It don't matter if he said it or not. He said it every day in his policies. He said a nigger word every time. Man, I have this picture in my mind of all these blacks kneeling down to Nancy Pelosi and Schumer and them wearing dashikis, or them kneeling down when they're signing the Juneteenth bill. All those old Negroes that should be dead gone with the ancestry sitting up there representing us. But that ought to make us mad. Like Emmett Till, got it. He don't need no statue. Give us the money. That's Juneteenth. What a waste of time. It's another day for people to take off. And these are government employees getting these benefits. Most of your jobs don't give you Juneteenth off. And if they do, they're looking for a way to get rid of it. So, man, that's an embarrassment. Oh, black people, let's get these. Most of us watching this probably didn't even get that day off. I didn't get Juneteenth day off.
And let me just say this before too. And Brina, how you doing? If I didn't already say, you said Trump's parents were KKK. There's a picture of him as a child with his parents dressed in hoods and robes. That's false. That photo was doctored, so that's not true as well.
But so what?
Yeah, his father attended a few meetings, but that doesn't necessarily.
Yeah, that photo was not. Yeah, it's not real.
But who cares if his parents? I don't care if his parents were Klan members. I would prefer that they were Klan members. At least we know who we're dealing with. And how you gonna blame the kid for something the father did? I see. Black people, we need to cut that shit out. We need to stick to the basics. Stick to putting money in your pocket. Now, every time we do these shows, we always try and get, what can we actually do? And I think if we put some money in our pocket, we would be better off. I'm telling you, get out of these car dealerships. Man, I want Louis bags and stuff too. I get it. But damn, like your whole check on a Louis bag? That is black people. Until we do that, all this other stuff is, we are wasting our time talking about Donald Trump. Because Donald Trump is in the palace right now in Mar-a-Lago. He's sitting there probably with 6 women. He having a good time. He probably got baby oil everywhere. And Joe Biden over there trying to remember where he's at, but he's still having a good time. But black people, we are still the ones, we are struggling. And all we have to do is put some money away. And we can do like some of these car hacks, house hacks, lifestyle hacks. I had somebody, I helped them with a car. I'm going to the dealership. I was like, you dumbass. Let me get this straight. You're going to buy a car for $50,000 that you know is going to be worth 40 in 2 weeks. Versus going to your bank, getting a check for 50 grand and buying something that actually costs you 30. You put 20 to work as a down payment on your little duplex and you get the party started. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the stuff we should be doing. But those black channels that do that have very few, viewers. There are a couple that earn your leisure and some of those that do well, thank God, but they probably reach out to 40 million black people to get 1 million and subscribe, which is sad, considering those brothers are dropping mad knowledge. That's what we should be doing. All this other stuff, I don't care if Donald Trump showed up on stage with a Ku Klux Klan hat. If he's saying, you know what, I'm cutting your taxes, which he's done. He cut taxes for all people, not just black people, white. He cut taxes for everybody. And during the pandemic, he cut all of us checks. Just give him the check. Oh, we don't need that. We don't need an LLC. Just cut him the check. PPP, SBA loans. Man, he was like, here, take this, take that. And they forgave most of those loans. For a lot of you people, a lot of you guys got PPP loans forgiven. But I don't hear nobody talk about that. You got 14,000 and it's just wiped away clean. My question is, what'd you do with the 14 grand? And reparations, we talked about. I ain't gonna talk about that because that turned into some madness. But until reparations show up, let's work harder. Because this whole thing, like waiting for reparations before we actually do something ourselves, is like going to church and asking God for a financial miracle, which he ain't gonna do. I don't know anyone that's ever gone to church and proved that God hooked them up with a financial miracle.
And let me say
that he hooked them up with the ability to go make a financial miracle for themselves.
And let me say this, MPC, how you doing? It says Barron is an anchor baby. That's a fact. That is not a fact. It's not a fact. Yes, he was, an anchor baby means born from an immigrant. His mom, I guess, is considered an immigrant, but his dad was born in the United States, New York. So
who's the immigrant?
Melania.
How do you call it? Is she an illegal immigrant?
She's not illegal. So yeah, she'd have to be illegal.
She's not an anchor.
So that's not a fact. I see the stuff in here. I just kind of want to make sure that we are, above board and coming close to the facts as possible. I mean, I know a lot of times things on the internet, it kind of seems like it's real. As I always tell y'all, one of my favorite memes is of Abraham Lincoln saying, if it's on the internet, it must be true. 1963, I think it said. That's when he's supposed to make the quote. Of course, we know the internet was not around in 1863, but the premise is sometimes we tend to believe stuff that's on the internet simply because it's on the internet. So we have to do a little bit more fact checking.
But let me ask you a question. So what? If he's an anchor baby, what's that got to do with your retirement, your tax planning, your car payment, the land that you own, your kids being safe, your kids being educated? What's that got to do if he's an anchor baby? So what? Black people, stop with this shit. Let's focus on our own problems. That's it. Like, you guys, go get your kids and your nieces and your nephews and the people around you, and you guys start working together. That's how we fix as Black people. That's how we fix our issues.
And let me just say this, MPC, I'm going to put the link in the comment section. I want, if you can, click on here. So we can have a conversation. You says, what are the Republicans giving you? I want to have a conversation with you. Just make sure I'm able to see your face before I bring you up to the big screen. But I want to have a conversation with you face to face, if you don't mind.
Yeah, and I can tell you what they've given us. Shoot. Man, one, they lowered our taxes. Every time a Republican steps in office, they lower taxes. That helps all the people, Black people included, if that makes sense to you. And I know Donald Trump is president or someone like that, they are fighting immigration, which helps us. Like, I'm okay. Half of my crew that I work with, half of them are Mexican. Girl that makes my candles, her and my daughter, she's Mexican. My partner with the car, she's Mexican. I got a Mexican out right now, dude, with tattoos and a hat. Call me talking about, yo, I just sold a bunch of your candles. Came in here from those boxes right there, grabbed 2 boxes, talking about I'm almost done selling them. You know how many conversations I've had with people about going out and making $200 in a day? He's like, dude, yo, baseball hat, tattoos, all the stuff that goes against this cat, hat, everything you can go, okay, he ain't gonna make it. Talking about, I'm gonna make $200 today, more than my parents. Do you know what I'm saying? So, like, by lowering our taxes and giving us the ability to have fairness with these immigrants, that helps Black people all day long. And you know what I like about the Republicans over the Democrats is they tend to be more conservative. Here's what I mean by that. A Republican is less likely to have 1,800 genders. A Republican is less likely to have a dude with a swinging ding-a-ling in the locker room with your daughter. A Republican is less likely to be like, hey, you know what? Kill the baby. We don't care. You make the choice. We don't care what the father has to say. If he want to keep the baby or not, it's your body. I ain't gonna get to the abortion thing, but the point I'm making is the word conservative tends to be more close to the vest. A conservative party is more likely to push for a household to stay together. You know who pushed to have the civil rights? Who got the Black man out of the house? It was the Democrats. That's civil rights for you. So don't you ask me what have the Republicans done? What laws have they put in place that I can then go and use? That is what I'm talking about. I don't necessarily have an emotion for Donald Trump. I just like more conservative politics. And most of the Black men I know that make money, have their own businesses, they are Republican. Do you ask yourself why? Because they're more likely to take care of their kids. They're more likely to do the right thing. They're more likely to reach out to the community. Do you understand what I'm saying? So as people start making money and having their own business and grabbing real control of their life, they tend to be more conservative. And that's what I think Black people are missing. If we focused on that, like, hey, you know what? My daughter's out there twerking and shit on TikTok. We ain't gonna have that. Versus, oh, it's her body, let her swing, and all this liberal shit. Our kids are out there getting killed. I'd rather have somebody in office that's like, hey, you know what? We like a 2-parent household. I ain't gonna go as far as saying it's a man or woman because that's your preference. But like, you know, I have 6 kids, and you met these two of my kids here. They're, I got them working for me now, thank God. But like, I married their mother from a conversation with a Republican. He goes, you need to marry her. You have a son. You, as a job, your man is to marry her and raise your family as a unit. A Republican told me that at an Amway meeting, which is ran by Republicans, basically. So when you say, what have the Republicans done? That's the stuff I'm talking about. If Black people thought more, my house, my family needs to be, our kids, we need to be together. We need to be more of a household. I told my kids, listen, I'm going to pay you guys, but you're saving that money. You're not spending, no, that's the money that you're saving. And I told them, mama, wake your ass up, get the party started, and let me have these kids. I'll get them from here. That's a conservative move. Not, oh shit, I'm going to let I didn't have it, so my kids ain't going to have it. No, that's how we end up where we are today. So there's my long answer. MC, where you at? MP?
Yeah, I put the link back up. So I don't have to see your face to understand your comment. You can't even get MCP right. What I say, MPC, MC. Okay, but I bet you won't click the link though. I'm gonna put it up here for you one more time.
And here's the other thing. Where's our reparations? You know what we can do? We can start. You guys understand what reparations means, right? At least in my opinion, reparations is to repair the damage. What if we start doing our own repair on ourselves while we put somebody in office that might actually give us reparations? You know what I'm saying? Black people, if we got, well, good luck with that. If we got ourselves together, I mean health-wise, this is a whole nother conversation. and I wish we could just have it without turning into like fat shaming and all this stuff. You guys, I was 40 pounds heavier last year. And I cannot tell you, when I went to bend down to tie my shoes, having to suck my stomach in to tie my shoe. Just that alone, and most of it's diet, has helped me financially, mentally, all kinds of stuff. Black people, when I go out and I see us, we are the ones, we are overweight as a people. And I know it sucks to say, but it's true. If we worked on our health, which don't cost nothing, matter of fact, you spend less money when you eat right. So that would definitely help us. And we start putting some money away. You don't need to be, I get it, yeah, the crab shack or the turkey leg hut, their food is good, but you need to be there 3 times a week. You can't go buy a turkey leg and make it yourself. I get it, we want to support the brother, but the brother got 5 Bentleys or whatever, he's doing well. We ought to aspire to be like that dude. You know what I'm saying? That just makes more sense to us. So we need to repair ourselves, because if every Black person started eating right, exercising a little bit more, I follow this glucose method from the Glucose Goddess. If you go to Diary of a CEO and you watch him, it's a brother who sold his business for a ton of money. And this chick, if you listen to them for an hour and a half, it will change. I lost 40 pounds listening to them and following some of those methods. That would help Black people if we lost 10, 15% of our body weight so we could move more, have more energy. But you can't say that to Black people, because Michelle Obama, who I like, by the way, tried to do that, and we ate her lunch. You know what I'm saying? I love Lizzo for her hustle, but I'm sure if she had her way, she'd probably lose a few pounds. You know what I'm saying? But even with her being overweight, she's still stomping on 99.9% of the planet. So what's your excuse?
Yeah, Lizzo's in a little bit of hot water now, it sounds like. But I don't want to get into that's a whole different conversation.
What's she doing now? I mean,
that's a different conversation for a whole nother day. I don't have all of the information, just know the surface, so I don't really want to get to.
I used to dog Lizzo, but I had to
and I don't understand why people dog Lizzo. It's just stupid to me. But anyway, Brina, you says my boss is good boss, and that's all that matters. I don't care about what he does at home, right? Mentality. They said that's true, by the way. Let's see here. And Dwayne says that's a weird dude, that Vivek Ramaswamy character. Yeah, he is kind of off. Just yeah. All right, so I'm just skipping down just to kind of catch up a little bit.
You link people at we need you. You know what I'm saying?
How you doing? It says Ramaswamy is very hateful towards Blacks. I would never vote for someone like that. Yeah, he's just glomming onto white supremacist talking points, trying to say to white people, hey, I think like you, therefore I must be like you too, right? That's all he's doing. He's no better than a Candace Owens, or any of those other cats out there, trying to buddy up to the Republicans, the white supremacists, So to me, he's a laughing matter. Certain people we shouldn't even take seriously.
Yeah, can I ask you another question? It's funny. I thought about something you said earlier. When I mentioned the Patriot Brothers, so I've only seen one episode, and that was like 5 minutes. And you mentioned that they cater to the white audience. And I follow a few people. I don't really follow Candace Owens. She lost me with the whole George Floyd comment. I thought that was stupid. But there are a few people that I follow, like Jamie Tatum. And I don't agree with all the things these people say, because every person that I follow, they've said something that I thought was totally off the wall. But you mentioned that they have a white audience. What would it take for us to become that audience?
But let me say this, because right now you asking a question, and and with all due respect, you have no knowledge of. You said you've watched 5 minutes of the Patriot Brothers or whatever they call. I've actually seen a few of their videos, and we would never want to be their audience. They're like a lot of people. They're grifters.
I'm not saying be their audience. I'm saying, what would it take for Blacks to represent, to what's the word I'm looking for, to support other channels? That's what I'm saying. I don't know anything about the Patriot Brothers. I'm watching
support other channels like what?
All channels, like our channels. You know what I'm saying? Like this channel or any channel that's helping Black people. We have a lot of channels like this that I hear are trying to help Black people, but they don't have nearly the subscribers that those guys have that have white audience. Matter of fact, There's this chick on my, I don't know how she got on my YouTube feed. Her name is something Monaco, the sister girl with a breast out, and I don't even know how she got on my feed.
Real quick, what's the name of the guy that you said again? Iron Will, how you doing?
What name?
You were talking about losing some weight or something.
Oh, so no, so if you go to YouTube and you follow a dude, it's called Diary of a CEO. He's a brother, got his stuff together, started a business, sold the business. He does an interview with this lady, and I want to warn you, she's white, so that'll probably, some of y'all probably will disappear. And if she was black, Puerto Rican, and Haitian, I would follow her. He does an article with YouTube with this girl, the glucose goddess, and I used her methods, and I have dropped weight. You can eat what you want to eat in a certain order. Vinegar before the meal, fibers, fats, proteins, and starches in that order, and you will drop weight. And everyone I know that has tried this has lost weight, which gives you more energy. So yeah, are you going to stop eating the chicken wings? No. Sometimes I like Buffalo Wild Wings and a beer. I know I'm killing my body, but sometimes I like that. But I'll be like, yo, do you have some vinegar? I was at dinner last night and asked him for a thing of vinegar, and I drank it before my salad and then my proteins and my fats. And I woke up this morning, I was the same weight. Before I would follow those methods, if I went out and ate lamb chops and mashed potatoes and Lord have mercy, I would hop on the scale and be 2 pounds heavier.
CB wants to know, Walter, are you in blacks for Trump? Why not?
I didn't realize there was a thing called Black for Trumps. I mean, I don't have time to be wrapped up in another organization, And you guys, let me be clear. It's not that I'm necessarily for Trump. Right now, I like what that party has done and some of the things he said. Like, he said stuff to black people that I think makes sense, but because he's a Republican, we just ignore it. And it don't even matter. Because if I feel like black people sometimes, if somebody is going against the Roland Martin establishment, they're gonna get killed. Like Ice Cube, the Republicans, I don't know, black people, why you don't get it. He went to Joe Biden. Joe Biden said no, Negro, and the Republicans said yes. But somehow we battered the dude. Asked one question to a group, and somebody said, "Yeah, we'll meet with you," but they want to crucify this dude because. And by the way, they happen to be in power. And honestly, if I want to meet to get something done, I want to meet with the people who actually have the power, not the people that may have the power. So, y'all, I don't care who it is. Denzel Washington, he's starting to speak a little bit about some of these issues and the child stuff. And, I feel sorry for him. I know black people are going to come after Denzel next, like they came after Bill Cosby when he told black people in the locker room, save your money, put down the jewels and the shoes and buy some real estate. We ate his ass up. So we really have to take control of our own stuff. And reparations, I'm going to say this, take it the way you want it. Reparations for right now needs to start with us. Because they're not going to give us what they owe us until we get the right people in office. So saying we need what we owe, it's like walking up to a brick wall and saying, I want you to open up for me. It ain't gonna happen.
And Inferno Machine, how are you doing? It says opinion on Mr. West running third party. I think that Mr. West, Cornel West, Dr. Cornel West, he's running. Isn't he running? Isn't he challenging Biden? So you're saying, should he be running as a third party? I would say this. I heard myself, I heard it out of his mouth to my ears, him being Dr. Cornel West, that he is running to give his white brothers and sisters that have been disenfranchised by Trump an option. That's what he said. So for people who are saying that I'm going to vote for Cornel West, I'm like, well, did you know he said that too? Because if you really listen to, Dr. Cornel West, he says a lot of stuff. He's originally a Bernie-crat. He was a big-time staunch Bernie Sanders supporter. So he kind of comes out of that, avenue, if you will. But he said, I'm also running to give my white brothers and sisters that have been disenfranchised by Trump an option. So I don't. I just think. I question who sent you. That's what I want to know, because we know that Cornel West is not going to win. He won't even come close. It's a cute conversation, as I always said. It's a great protest vote. It would be a great protest vote. I'm not voting for either, but here, since y'all making me go, because y'all said that my ancestors died for my right to vote. All right, I'm with it. I'm going to go vote, but I'm going to check off his name. So, but I don't take him seriously at all.
I mean, no, of course not, but it's good for his brand. And you guys, listen, and a third party is only going to help the Republicans. You can that's for sure. Because Joe Biden, his poll numbers, he is so weak right now. I cannot believe he is the front runner. Like, Democrats, you ought to be ashamed of yourself to have that dude represent you. My God, the dude's falling down. He makes comments. Him and his son, like, geez Louise. Like, Stevie Wonder, even he's like, oh yeah, I see what they did. Like, you're just breaking the law all over the place. Half of us couldn't get away with that. And we always divert from the subject. Black people, we need to start repairing ourselves first.
And let me say this. Chuck Starr, how you doing? Says Ice Cube master plan was altered under Trump, though instead of contract with Black America became the platinum plan. That is not true. That is not true. If I'm not mistaken, the platinum plan was in place before Ice Cube came out with contract with Black America. So that is absolutely not true. And, you know, I'm with Walter on why is it so hard to ascertain that Ice Cube had a contract with Black America. He said he didn't even necessarily go looking for any of them. They each party kind of, I guess, reached out to him. The Trump administration said, okay, come have a conversation. The Biden administration, I guess, said that's interesting, but if we get in the White House, when we get in there, we'll talk to you. He says he had a conversation with some guy. It was nothing major. That guy is not there in the Biden administration anymore, and that was the last he heard of it. But, you know, I just, like, maybe because I'm an Ice Cube fan, I have a hard time with people, and that's kind of a flaw with us too. We don't know how to take in new information. And I'm not saying about you, Chuck Star, specifically, but we don't know how to take in new information. We have dragged Ice Cube more than we have dragged Biden for the policies he's actually implemented and helped implement to hurt Black people. But all Ice Cube said is, I have a contract with Black America. I want to see if either the Biden or Trump administration will look at it and do something with it. And we're pissed. We're pissed at Ice Cube for wanting to have a conversation. But and a lot of, and this is the crazy part too, again, how we as Black people, we get brainwashed. They told y'all to be mad at Ice Cube. They being the Democrats, you know, your Fox Queens and your Rollins and all these people told y'all to be mad at Ice Cube. And not once did all the people that are mad at Ice Cube, they stop to say, well, what's wrong with having a conversation? What's wrong with that? That's equivalent to somebody saying, when you go in that car dealership, you go get a blue car. I don't care if you like it or not. Go get a blue car. And then you get in there, you're like, wow, well, there's red cars, there's green, there's yellows. I see some options. Then you come out with a green car, and then you get beat to death because you didn't do what they told you to do. It's like, well, I wanted to explore my other options. What's wrong with that? So we got to, I don't know. It's, to me, it's just bizarre that it is, but it's not, because I get the brainwashing that we as Black people have been under, and we are still under that in 2023. Somebody has a conversation different than the ones that we've been hearing, and then we automatically get on defensive mode and we get emotional, and we do the job of actually white supremacy. We do the job of white supremacy when we jump on Ice Cube for trying to help Black people, when Ice Cube is going to be better off than most Black people here in America. It's insane to me. It's insane.
Listen, here, I like Ice Cube. I love somebody that can start from the bottom, make their way up. I mean, you know, it's sad that we're still talking about this shit. It really breaks my heart that we can't just get to the point. You know, like, I don't believe in everything Ice Cube did, but like, the brother made adjustments, you know, like he went from being a gangster rapper to doing what he's doing. And by the way, you guys, it was Ice Cube that said F the police. Y'all can't keep treating us that way. And it was him, for those of you that want to get into the fight with the Jews, it was him that called out the Jews on his no Vaseline. I mean, so like, This is a brother that has stood up for black people. But the minute he goes against I don't even know what he went against. Honestly, I still don't know what the brother did wrong. You know what I'm saying? I saw the Queen's interview, and I know Claudia Jordan well. I still, to this day, I don't know why they went after him. And except it was like they get a mandate from the powers that be that said, y'all go tear these brothers up. Black women will listen to you. You go eat this brother up, because that's what we can get black women on TV to do, is go out and attack the black man that's actually trying to do something. Because Lord forbid the black man unite. Oh man, can you imagine the black men getting together and saying, we're going to take care of our kids, we're going to save our money, and we're going to take the block back? Man, you had 100 black men out here meeting about cleaning up the block and taking it over and getting all of our kids back together. Man, it would be, please, probably be an atom bomb drop.
Mr. Norris, how are you doing? I muted your mic. You can unmute it. Oh, is he frozen?
No, he's moving.
He's moving. Let's see. Let me try to unmute you if I can.
Maybe he got Texas internet.
Let me see. Let me try to unmute you.
Just touch me, baby. I don't know why I'm singing that.
You might have to do it on your end. It won't let me do it.
By the way, speaking of touching the screen, our new baby oil, coconut oil, wax on candles are available if you want one. You can pour it on yourself, rub it in, it disappears. Matter of fact, I'll do it to myself before this podcast is over. I'm not gonna rub myself. I'm talking about a massage. Actually, my daughter Morgan made them. They have shea butter, coconut oil, coconut wax. I'll
get some when I come there at the end of the month.
You need to go to the website, fool.
I'm gonna give me make sure I have enough room in my suitcase to get me a few of those. Dwayne says, when it comes to reparation, nobody gets a pass. We're not gonna wait until after the election. We're not hearing they need the Senate or the House or programs or vouchers or any of those old played out gimmicks. And Norris, you are okay. Let's see. Hold on a second. Let me remove this one. Put this one up here. Hey,
how you?
I'm well. How about yourself?
I'm good, Dimitri. I was just calling, listening to Walter, and I agree with everything he was saying. You know what I'm saying about black people? Forget the Democrats, forget the Republicans. Count on, you remember I told you a while back that I never voted till I was 40, but I was working to build my money. You know what I mean? I didn't give a damn who's in the White House, because I realized that my life would rise and fall on what I did, not who's in the White House. And I get to thinking sometime, Demetria, about the people before us. Y'all know how these people came and they destroyed a lot of black communities. Tulsa, Oklahoma, Rosewood were a couple of them, but there were many more. Now, back in that day, those people weren't concerned with voting. Not really. Because they had to count jelly beans and all this stuff. So they just didn't do it. They just built. You know, they just kept building. When I was a boy, I lived in this community where the gas stations were owned by black people, the restaurants by black people, the food stores, cab stands, everything was owned by black people. And they didn't give a damn about voting. They didn't care. And all of a sudden, I have to agree with Walter. Walter said it. He hitting it right on the head. Build yourself. You know, it reminds me of that prayer that says, you know, the things that I can't change and the things that I can. I'm going with the things I can. I agree with Walter 100%. Build your own. When he said build your own reparations. And that's what I've been doing for the last 70 years. And now I'm at a point where the money is coming in from a couple of properties, retirement, and I can just sit on my butt and travel or whatever. But I don't care. Biden, Trump, any of them, you know, I don't care. It's on me. And like I said, these black people, oh, well, he's this. Oh, Trump is this. I don't care. I agree with Walter. That's all I got to say, Demetri. I agree with Walter. We need to, because I was raised in a community where everything was owned by black people, you know, and all the people that if you think about it, the people, the generations before, they didn't care nothing about voting. They ain't got about no voting. They was building towns and cities and all this kind of stuff. And all of a sudden, we worrying about the Democrat and Republic and ain't built nothing. So that's my 2 cents. That's all I got to say.
And you know what, Mr. Norris, I love when you come on here and give us the wisdom. While I'm gonna mute your mic, and give us wisdom because you're absolutely right. I'm gonna meet yours too, just real quick, so we don't have the feedback. Because there's a lot of communities, and the Asian community is one. They do vote, but they're concerned with moving the money. They're like, no matter who's in office, we getting the money. And no matter who's in office, we're going to be able to be self-sustaining, take care of ourselves. We don't necessarily worry about, we get loans, but we're able to loan money to ourselves because we built and worked and stacked our money. And so, you know, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us that here. You know, it doesn't matter who's in the White House. Neither one of them are going to help black people. None of them. We got to do for self. We are supposed to do for self. Marcus Garvey, I got some books over there, said, up you mighty nation, accomplish what you will. So back then, they even knew, like we're building our hope on white supremacy on both sides, somebody saving us and doing the right thing. The other thing too, like you said, Mr. Norris, back in the day, we had all kind of businesses and, you know, and during the Black Wall Street and stuff like that, they were busy moving and building, but we got distracted by politics, and that was all by design. And like you said, we ain't built nothing since. We sit up and argue over, you know, the Republicans or the Democrats, and then both of them looking at them, look at them fools. They ain't got two nickels to rub together, and they think honestly voting is going to do something for them. But we know also, it is said now that we see about $2 trillion in the black community every year, and we still give most of that away. So whose fault is that? Now, I know a lot of that is we don't have a lot of businesses, but we could build some, we could try, right? So some of that, we have to take personal responsibility, but you're absolutely right. Regardless of who's in the White House, we still in the doghouse until we do for self.
And the thing about it, and the thing about the whole thing is, those people back then, they were dealing with Jim Crow. You know, I mean, when I say Jim Crow, even though we still kind of in a Jim Crow situation, they were in serious Jim Crow, black codes, and all this kind of stuff, and still built communities, still built them. So I don't know. I agree with Walter. Why are you worried about any of these parties? You know, in them. I told you I never voted till I was 40, and then I quit doing that because I realized it was always on me, and I'm glad it was because I ain't got to ask nobody for nothing. But that's all I got, Demetri. Like I said, why don't we? Like I said, I've been here long enough to see a community that was run by blacks, gas stations, restaurants, one grocery. We had one grocery store, and it was a little old bitty grocery store, but you could get what you want. We had cabs, we had all this stuff. We didn't have all we needed, but we had something, you know. And that's where everybody would congregate around those black businesses.
Oops. I think he'll be back. His connection's kind of sometimes on those cell phones. Y'all know how that goes. And Ophelia, welcome. We're happy to have you here. MCP says, because we trust everybody but us. Yeah, it's been said, you know, we always think the white man's ice is colder than ours.
Yeah. So I'm back. I'm back. Yeah, like I said, I agree with Walter. I agree with you, Walter, 100%. Because back there when I was a kid, where the black people owned the places, those were the spots. That's where the money was spent. because everything else was segregated. We did better to me when we were segregated. Why do we want to fight? If you ever notice these other races, they come in here, they're not interested in integration. They're building their own communities. We got a Hispanic community not far from where I live, and they will tell you, don't come up here. Don't come up here today. They will tell you that. And I don't blame them. I don't blame them. But Walter, you hitting it 100% on the head. You know, I used to get a regular T-shirt, and people say, "Well, why don't you get Tommy Hilfiger?" I said, "Because he ain't paying me to advertise."
Right.
You know what the hell I'm gonna get? Oh, Gucci and all that. They ain't paying me nothing. But that's all I got, Demetri. I remember. I just wanted to say, I've been here long enough to see a black community and how people rallied around that community. And it wasn't even no talk about voting at that time. Nothing. Not worried about no voting. We were trying to make money, man. So that's all I got, Demetri.
I appreciate you, Mr. North. Please come back and see us again.
I will, because you know I learned from you. You know, I told you at 72, you done taught me everything.
Well, I'm learning from you. I love to hear the history of our people, and I'm glad that you were able to see that.
Yeah. And I tell Walter, I really appreciate what you said, because Walter reminds me of the old men that raised me. He's a man, don't worry about no politician. Just get out here and do this work. That's what we did. So anyway, I got to go.
All right. Have a great evening.
You too. And I saw your picture. I love the weight that you have lost. When I looked at that picture, what you got on now? I
Yeah,
looked at
that's
that
the short
picture.
set.
I looked at that picture. I thought about Nelly. I said, "Oh, it's getting hot in here."
I'm
So hot.
losing some more. I'm losing some more. I'm coming down slowly but surely. I've went back to plant-based diet. So no meat, no dairy, none of that. And I exercise every day, lifting weights, cycling. I can't run yet because I hurt my ankle when I was in California at my dad's. So I'm still healing my ankle, but I'm moving every day.
Child, you're looking good. You're looking good. You look hot. Oh man,
I appreciate that.
I looked at you. I said, "God, give me back 30 years. Give me back 30." But anyway, I got to go. I'll see y'all later.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Bye bye.
Cool. I
So
like that.
anyway, let's get out of here. I know we've been here for about 2 hours. But anyway, hello to everybody that's come on here. Sorry I could not get to all the comments, but as always, I really do love and appreciate you all. Whether we agree or we disagree, we're gonna get there slowly but surely. I like to chart Wealth Wednesdays back more into asking financial questions. We really trying to help where we can. Mostly Walter, he's the financial expert. And helping us, just make some more money and figure out how to keep it and all of that, right? So let's try to get back to that more often. But of course, we need to have these conversations as well. So anyway, until Sunday, we'll be back here with Donovan live. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but we'll talk about something nevertheless. So thank y'all to everybody who subscribed, members, if you liked, commented, donated. We also have ways at the bottom to do that. So in the meantime, see y'all later. Peace.